African brothers who is doing us proud on the global scene working with Icann. But before I bring him up, I want to also recognize in our presence and in the audience today, Yahovi Aton, our senior vice, our senior manager, our senior director for global stakeholder engagement for Africa. Please, can you put your hands together again for him? He's come all the way. He had to fly through 7 seas and 7 mountains to get here. But we will be hearing from him as we go ahead. Right about now, remotely joining us and giving a keynote address is another African brother, Bob. And Bob will introduce himself. Right now, he walks out of Nairobi, Kenya, and he will introduce himself, and we will definitely be hearing more from him because this program that is being talked about also sits squarely around his table. Bob, do we have you here?
Yes, Lawrence, if you can hear me.
We might need to unmute his mic.
Can you hear me? Hello, good morning. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello? Lawrence, can you hear me in the room? Hello? Can you hear me? Looks like you
Bob, if
can't
you're
hear
talking,
me,
we can hear you.
Lawrence, unfortunately.
Otherwise, I'll just call Yahovi to give a short brief before you go into your main presentation so that we can still have Bob. Please, let's welcome Yahovi, our Senior Director.
Thank you, Laurence. Maybe we still have some seats at the front. If you can move to the front so that people are will be joining or will take the seat at the back. So my name is Yaovi Aton. I'm not here the senior director. I'm the director for stakeholder engagement and operation for Africa at Icann. So I'll have the opportunity after the senior director Bobo Sheng, who will also first welcome you. He's the main person in charge of the program we are going to talk about this morning. So Bobo Sheng is in charge of that one. We are having some technical challenges, but I don't know if it's the time ready for Bob to talk. If not, I'll deliver a presentation to help direct connection, direct presentation to my computer. The delay is a very long delay. You see my but the issue is that people online could not get me. They can get my also my presentation. Okay. Again, for Bob to speak, or you are still working on it? Okay, when you are ready, because Bob has been waiting since the morning. So please, once you are ready, let me know, and then we can have Bob talk. Thank you. His email address with me. The last part of the email address.
Please. Okay, so you say the last one is com. Okay, please, do we have another email address? The N is different. Oh, you can pass the microphone here.
.net.
Net. So we have com, we have net. Please, at the back there, she has something different. You have on the microphone, please.
IE.
IE.
Yes.
With the end of the email.
Yes.
The complete meaning is
Yahoo.ie.
Yahoo.ie. Okay, I'll check.
I have two.
Please.
I have two.
Okay.
.org and
.org and .africa. So I'm sure you are following. Do you have some? Can you have the end of your email address there? Oh, please. .com. We have .com. .com. So far I have seen IE. I have seen com. Or something else as email address the end. Oh, Africa, yes, Africa. NG. Net. Dot UK. Thank you. Something different. You are making my presentation very easy because I think I want to talk first my introduction before Bob join. I want to talk about what Icann is doing as introduction. So what we just heard, we get com, net, Africa, UK, all these we call them top level domain names. We call them top level domain names. So Icann as an organization is coordinating some resources on the internet, and then these top level domain names are part of the resources coordinating. So again, we have two main categories when we talk about these top level domain names. We have some of them which are linked to countries. We have some of them which are linked to countries. Like in the list you just share with me, can you give me one which is linked to a country, one or two which are linked to country? ND is linked to Nigeria and UK is linked to the other group is not for country. So the other group we call them the country. So the other group we call them the generic top level domain name. So generic top level domain name. So we have two categories of top level domain names. We have country code top level domain names and generic top level domain names. So we can make it interactive. If you have a question, you can stop me. So I want it to be clear for all of us before we leave this room. Everything should be clear in our mind because the main topic of today is about the domain name. So this is why I'm starting like this. We understand the global concept when we talk about the domain name. So the top level domain name is what Icann is managing. Because someone mentioned just now something.za, co.za. So, and I was saying that I'm more interested about the ZA because ZA is the top. This is the one Icann is managing. Now, co.za is managed by another entity. Okay, I can show my screen now. So that is one of the I was talking about the top level domain name. So is it clear to everyone? I was mentioning that we have two categories. One category is for countries, and then we have an example of countries. We mentioned UK, we mentioned Nigeria, we mentioned Ireland, South Africa. Now the second group is what we call the generic top level domain name. So these are not linked to countries. generic top-level domain names. They are not linked to countries, one we mentioned. So, and then we have also a special one, which is we call linked to territory, like Africa. Africa is linked to the continent Africa. So the generic one, we have a lot. The generic top-level domain name, we have a lot today. But I will come back to that later. My first point is that Icann is coordinating this resource, which is a top-level domain name. Like, if you want an entity to know who is managing the top-level domain name in Nigeria, it's NIRA, and then NIRA get the accreditation from Icann. So for each country code top-level domain name, we have an organization managing that one, and this organization get the accreditation from Icann. So that is the role of Icann at the global level. So managing the top-level domain name. Any question about this one, the country code top-level domain name? Any question? Okay, so we have the second category I mentioned. I see that these are the generic top-level domain name. We call them the GTLPs. And that is again the main topic of what I'm going to present in detail after this call. Today we have more than 1,200 what we call the generic top-level domain name. We have more than that today. And this generic top-level domain name, there is a process if you want to have a new one. Like we have .com, we have .org. To have a top-level domain name, we need a process, and then we'll have another round, what we call another round, happening in 2 years' time. Do you have Bob online?
Yes. Yes.
So my suggestion is that we can test the microphone of Bob, and then Bob is the main staff in charge of this program, and Bob will make some remarks before I continue. So Bob, if you can hear, you have the microphone.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, but sound is not very good on my end. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well, Bob.
Hello?
So, yeah, thank you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience. So, you are welcome to help out in this opening part of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. So I believe I can make a few introductory remarks. Yeah, I know we are grossly behind time since we've been waiting quite a bit. And I'm sure the audience will really want to get into the discussion, the substantive discussion of the day. So I will not take long. Lawrence already mentioned a number of things that I wanted to say. As you have already indicated, I sit in Nairobi, and I am leading this program that we are calling the next round. An opportunity and an important point in the journey of Icann and the Icann community that you are part of. And today is really an effort to invite you in a special way as a community in Nigeria to really, consider joining this particular opportunity. As Lawrence mentioned, domain names or unique identifiers perform two critical functions for you and me. They are a technical resource, so they perform a technical function, meaning you use unique identifiers to navigate the complexity of the internet. As Lawrence indicated, without names, it might be very difficult for you and me to really find a resource on the internet. Remember, the internet is a network of hundreds of thousands of autonomous networks. And yet, you can easily find anything you want on that particular network. This is possible because of unique identifiers, which pinpoints resources in that huge network of networks. So that is a technical function that names and numbers But at the same time, they are a business opportunity. And this particular program that we are here to discuss today, some of you have heard about it, is addressing this second function that these resources perform. So do have the business opportunity that they do have. That you can actually sell names, you can register names, and it is a huge thriving business ecosystem. And interestingly for us is that this is where we have not played, like the rest of the world. I am sure you're very much aware about .ng, which is your country code name for Nigeria. But you also probably are customers already or are already familiar with other names like .com. Obviously, all of us don't know .net or info. And today there are very many more of such, as you will see in this presentation. But even more interestingly, that is about to change. In another few years, new names will be added into the internet. The question is from where or by who? And this is why we found it relevant and important to invite the African community as a whole, especially entrepreneurs from Africa, the business community in Africa, to really consider very carefully the business ecosystem around identifiers, specifically the names that Icann oversees, and appreciate to what extent you can equally be equal players in that particular space, which today is not doing very well. So our agenda today is very simple: to invite you to appreciate and consider joining this new opportunity, participate in this new opportunities when it opens, to be able to be a player in the domain names business, substantively. So the substance of the discussion is in our presentation, and we'll be talking about different elements of the program, which are very critical. Some of them are a bit technical, but it is very important for you, to take note of this and to ask as many questions as possible. We have, I would say an advantage because, we got next door in Togo or in Benin. I'm in Nairobi. Of course, Lawrence has all our contacts. We have an opportunity and time to really give you details and answer your queries well in advance of the opening of the program. This is why we are doing this now. So in a very special way, I joined my friend Lawrence and colleague Yavi, to invite you to this session. Please participate, ask questions, because this is very, very important for us. This is why, it was necessary to really come to the ground and deploy resources to make this happen. So thank you. I will be right here following online and interjecting as we go along to try to provide specifics of the various components that the YB will be presenting around. Allow me to give it back to YB so that the program continues. Once again, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to a very engaging session today with you.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you very much for your time. And then, as I mentioned, we had some delay in starting, and we appreciate your time. I'll just make 10 minutes general, again, introduction on Icann. We'll have a 30-minute break, and then at 12, in our time here, we'll come back for the main presentation at 12, and it is 11 UTC. And then Bob will be with us for the main presentation at 12, which is 11 UTC. And before I continue, I want again to recognize the presence of partners from NCC. I can see some partners from NECC and other organizations, and Lawrence will help me to thank. With that, I want to go back to the brief introduction I was making about Icann. I'll make it very brief because the main topic, as Bob mentioned again, is about the next round of the new GTLP. So after break, our focus will be on that program again. Uh, Before we had this remark from Bob, I was talking about the two some resources that ICANN as an organization is helping to coordinate at the global level. And I was talking about the domain names, the top level domain names. So, and I was saying that we have two categories. One category linked to countries, and then another category, we call this category the categories of generic top level domain names. So I don't know if there's a question about this concept before I move. So I mentioned domain names, and as an example, I asked you, what is the last part of your email address? And I got com, net, ZA, UK. I got all these. These are the top level domain names. And we have also another function that ICANN is playing today. It is about some number resources, We call them number resources. Why? We are here, we are connected. We are connected in this room, and you can have connection from your mobile phone through this room or through the mobile operator you have in this room. So anytime you are connected, your device, anytime you are connected to the internet, your device has what we call an IP address. So anytime you are connected to the internet, your device has an IP address. So when I mention device, I'm not just talking about computer. So everything connected to the internet today, and you see we have many things connected to the internet today. Today we don't have just computers. What else do we have connected to the internet today? We have phones, yes. We have, yes, exactly. We have watches connected to the internet. We have many things. When we say internet of things, we have many things connected today. In practice, we have cameras also. From your house, we have cameras. Home appliances. We have many things connected to the internet. So all of them, my point is that all of these devices today, when they are connected, they have what we call the IP addresses. So the IP addresses, they are resources that also ICANN at the global level is helping to coordinate the IP addresses. So that is also one function of ICANN at the global level today. And ICANN is giving blocks of these resources to the region. Like in Africa, we have an organization managing these resources, the number resources in Africa. Who knows the name of this organization? It's Africa. So do we all know about what Afrinic is doing? We all know about Afrinic. At the table there, do we all know what Afrinic is doing? Okay. So let me talk briefly about Afrinic. Afrinic is one of these organizations we call regional internet registry. So we have 5 regional internet registry. So for Africa, the one for Africa is called Afrinic. So Afrinic receive blocks of resources, number resources from ICANN. Then Afrinic now allocate these resources to entities. So these entities, they are service providers, they are telecom operators, and any entities like your organization member.
That is what we call the ICANN public meetings. So we have 3 public meetings every year. We have 3 ICANN public meetings every year. So these meetings are open to everyone, and I really call you to attend this meeting. The next one is happening in Turkey, in Istanbul. I will not be in Istanbul. I will have some colleagues in Istanbul, but what is good is that remotely I can participate in this Istanbul meeting. So anyone from his mobile phone can participate in the meeting happening in Istanbul. So what you can do,
you can go to icann.org. When you go to icann.org, you'll see the link to the Istanbul meeting. Please, when you go back, register for the Icann meeting in Istanbul. You'll see the agenda of the Icann meeting in Istanbul, and then you can set your own agenda depending on your interest. So you'll decide which session to attend. Especially, we have a session on the 11th of November. 11th of November, we call it Africa Space. So when you go to the agenda of the Icann meeting, there is a session called Africa Space. So we'll have the opportunity to talk to you about what the staff is doing in Africa to help the community in Africa. So this is what we call about the Icann meeting. We have also some programs. There's one which is called the fellowship program, which is also a program we use to support the community. So if anyone who is very involved or is involved in the community can apply for the fellowship program. So it's a program already launched. When you go to the Icann website again, you'll see a link to the fellowship program. So the application is open. Their application will be closed this month for a meeting that is happening in Europe. So the next, after the meeting in Istanbul, we'll have another meeting in the US Seattle in March. But we have another meeting in June. So the meeting in Istanbul is Icann 81. Icann 82 will be in the US in March. Icann 83 will be in the Europe. So now the fellowship round application open now is for people who want to attend physically the meeting, the meeting in Europe in June. So that is the second meeting of the year. So these are the program Icann has to support the community, to support the participation. And we don't have time today to go through everything about Icann. That is why we have a website where you can go according to your schedule. You can go back, you can disconnect, you can come back. We call it Icann Learn. When you go to Icann Learn, you have a lot of courses talking about Icann and many related topics. So anytime you go to Icann Learn, you can have a lot of courses you can take. And it is mandatory. One of the courses is mandatory if you want to apply for the Icann fellowship program. So again, we have some, I think for the current program, we have people from, even we have some fellows from Nigeria, beneficiary of the program to attend the meeting in Seattle. So I'll show to you after this. So I'm not going to use all the slide I have. As you can see, we have the headquarters of Icann in Los Angeles, but we have also what we call regional offices. We have one in Istanbul covering Africa and the Middle East. But in addition to the regional offices, we have what we call the engagement center. We have one in Nairobi, and this is where my colleague Bob is based. So Bob who just spoke about the program, his program. So Bob is based in our engagement center in Nairobi. But Bob is working for the global new generic program while in Nairobi. We have an office there. So Bob is in Nairobi, and Bob is in charge of this specific program, the new generic top-level domain next round program. We'll see that in the next presentation, what we call the internationalized domain names, because when we started our Ask for Domain Name, people, you said com, you said net, you said org. These are characters we know, but today we have also domain names in characters which are not necessarily our characters. And then there is a concept today, we talk about universal acceptance of domain name and email address because of the fact that we have longer domain name, not just 3 characters today, and then we have domain name in other characters. There is this concept of universal acceptance, which is very important. So I want to stop there for my brief introduction to Icann. I will suggest we take the break, and again after the break we have some flyers. After the break we'll go to the main topic because we are starting the break now. So my apologies, Bob, and people online will have the next. We'll start at 12:15. We'll start at 12:15 for the next session, And then this will be on the main topic, which is the next round of new GTLG. Any question on what we said, we'll take this question after the break. So I want to thank all people online, people following online, so to let them know that we'll resume at 12:15 for the main topic. Thank you very much for your attention. Before that, let's take a group picture for people in the room. You come to here, we have a group picture before we go for the coffee break. Thank you.
Please, we have tea break set just outside the registration desk. Please, let's file there, help ourselves. You can bring it into the hall. We will want to recommence by 12:15 on the dot. So please, while we are encouraging that you network and speak to people in the hall, please also make sure you grab something quickly to fill your tummies. Thank you for your patience. Where you have any questions, please kindly ensure that you note them down. There will be a session, there will be a time in the session upcoming where you can ask those questions. Whatever question comes to mind, please note them down and feel free to ask when the time for questions come up. Thank you. You could decide to tweet Icann Lagos or use hashtag Icann Lagos. You could take a picture. There's a red carpet outside. You can also make use of that to take pictures and share. Please tag Microboss Tech, MICROBOSS Tech. hashtag Icann Lagos, and you can also kindly tag Microboss, MICROBOSSTECH. For our online audience, apologies for the challenges you had earlier on. We will share the link. We will reshare the link so that we can have more people join. Thank you. We reconvene by 12:15.
Do not buy Video Express until you watch this video till the end, because this video is not like other videos on the internet, where I will be just showing you all the good things about the tool, but instead I will share my
clock, I think we can start in 2 minutes. If participants outside, you can just let them know that we are going to start. Okay, thank you very much. We want to thank again participants following remotely on Zoom and on YouTube. Now we are going to spend the next 2 hours for the main topic, which is the next round. As you can see, we talk a lot today about GTLD. I'm sure that everyone has when we ask you what is GTLD, I think anyone can respond. Or can someone tell me what is GTLD, the meaning of GTLD? No, I don't want people Icanners to talk. You know a lot about Icann. Thank you very much. So is it clear for everyone? Generic top-level domain name. So the main topic is about that. And you can see, if you can have the background music off, I think we can start again. We will spend the next 2 hours together. I'll do a presentation maximum in 1 hour, because the most important for me is not to talk, is for us to interact, so that we go back home with the main topic, which is the next round. The next round. Why are we saying next round? So you'll see why we are saying next round from the presentation. You'll tell me why we are saying next round. So we have like a different main topic to cover. The domain name system. We talk about the domain name system. Icann is not for technical people only. It is for everyone. And you can see from the 3 circle in the previous session, we talk about the organization, we talk about the board, we talk about the community. So everyone, as an individual, you can contribute to what Icann is doing. And I hope you have time to go back to the link I share. I hope that you will participate also in the next Icann meeting in Istanbul, remotely, or you can join. It's open, the Icann meetings. So I'm going to talk briefly about the domain name system. Even if you're not a technical person, we should understand. I'm going to talk about the internationalized domain names and universal acceptance. I'm going to talk about that. How we can build a more inclusive internet through the new generic top-level domain name. How we can do that. There's a program, the new GTLD applicant support program. The applicant support program, which is a very important program. Registry service provider evaluation program, which is also one of the projects. So we have 2 projects, the support program and the evaluation program. They are very important for us, especially for our countries, our region. And again, you can see a link to resources, because everyone in this session today is supposed to go back and share the message. Everyone in this session today. I don't know, how the population of Nigeria, how much? 200. So, meaning that if you see this room, we have, each of us, we have to reach out to a minimum of people. Because if you see the population, so the idea is for people to know what is this about, this program. So we have resources about
this program. So when you go back, you should be able, you can also use these resources to talk about people. That is very important. And then we have a session for Q&A. I have my colleague Bob Osheng and the Vice President Pierre Andinu also, who are trying to be with us and then to help me answer your question. So if you see this slide, for example, we talk about the internet. That is a network of network. At the beginning, we were talking about just computers, but today is not just limited to computers. We have many things on the internet today, which is not just a fiction, but you have the reality. You can be, from here, you can see what is happening in your office, in your home, because the cameras that are connected through the internet. To navigate to the internet, like if you give me the website of your company, I can go to the information you have on the website because you give me the address. But it is very, when you give me the website, what is happening is that the machine hosting the information, this machine has an IP address. So one way is to give me the IP address, but you see how it can be very, very difficult for me to remember. If you give, even the phone numbers, if you give me the phone number of someone, the easiest way for all of us, on your phone, what we used to do, we used to put the people's contact on our phone. So if I want to check your phone number, I think if I remember your name, it will be easy for me to get your phone number. Because if I have your contact on my phone, the easiest one is the name. Because if I want to keep your phone number, it may be difficult. But once I know your name, I can go to my phone and search your name and have the phone number. So as we say that it is very difficult to remember the technical resources, the number, which is the IP address, connecting the devices. So that is why we are using the names. Like if I say www.icann.org, you remember I just said go to icann.org. It's very easy to remember. But if I can tell you to go to 1922.0.43.7, it will be difficult sometimes. So the domain name system is what is making exactly. So like you have www.icann.org is a domain name. Is a domain name, www.icann.org. Who can give me another domain name? Microsoft.com, yes, is the domain name. Another domain name? Microphone to her, please. Because I want everyone to hear what we are saying. And we have people online also. When we speak in the microphone, these people could also hear what we are saying. So your
ic-sol.net.
Oh, okay. It's also a domain name. Again, what I want us to keep is that we have the top level domain name, which is the last part. So like icann.org, the top level is the .org, the top level domain name. So that is important for the topic, the main topic we are covering now, because we are seeing next round of new generic top level domain. Top level domain is key, is very important. Top level domain name. This is what Icann is managing, the top level domain name. So a question about the top level domain name is clear. Oh, I have a question there, the microphone, please.
I'm sorry, I want to ask, .io is a top level domain, right?
.io.
Yeah.
That is a good question. So
Because I have a follow-up question for that.
a good question. let me help you how you can check. Very easy. If it is a top level domain name, even me, I don't know all the top level domain names. I don't know them. So a very easy way, you type on your phone whois.iara.org. Whois, W. So you go there. Let me share this with you. You see, when you go to the internet anytime, you can check if it is a top level domain name.
ways.iana.org. So you can type that one.
Okay.
So if I want to check if NG is a domain name, I'll type NG here. If I put NG there, I click on submit. The system will tell me. You see? So it gives me information about NG, the organization, which we call this organization the registries. So NIRA is the registry for .ng. So it's just an example, and you can have more information about each top-level domain name. You can see the first creation of .ng. It was in 1995. So 1995, and from time to time, if there are changes about this top-level domain name, so our Icann puts the date we have these changes. These changes can be about like one of the server, or can be information about one person, an email address of the first people managing. So anytime we have a change, we have the date there. So the question is about IO. Okay. So I put just IO there, and I click on submit. Yes, so that is a top-level domain name. The organization. The microphone to Mr. Because Mr. B is from CCNSO, Country Code Name Supporting Organization.
.io is a CCTLD. It's a country code name for the British Indian Ocean. So it's a top-level domain, or it's a country code top-level domain.
Thank you very much. You have another follow-up option, you said?
Yes, so
Okay.
random. So I was always wanted to ask this question, right? So in a situation whereby a country take over another country, right?
A country did what?
A country take over another country. For
Take
example,
over?
Yes.
Okay.
For example, this IO, right? It's owned by a colony, and that's why most, like GitHub, some organization, that's where their domains are hosted, right? So I read somewhere recently, right, that it's about to be taken over. The country is about to be taken over by like another country, I guess like British or something. So I'm asking, this is like out
Okay,
of your scope,
okay.
like what will happen to everybody hosted on that .io, right? If another country takes over another country, and yeah, and I know that, okay. So from what I learned from my Icann, right? So every country has every country has their own like NG. So if they take over it, so what would be the name? What would
So Mr. B will talk more about that later, but I want to be a brief question because he's the one about CCNSO, country code name support. You know, he has a lot to share with you. So during lunch also, sit over close to him because he has a lot to share. There are a lot of policy discussion going on, and then many things he will be sharing with you. And again, policy is important. There are people taking their time. They are not paid by Icann, the community, but they take their time to contribute to the development of internet. So the short answer I'll give to you is that Icann is not in charge of the code. Icann just use the ISO code. Like when we had South Sudan, for example, as a country, South Sudan was ready to use the SS, which is not defined by Icann. So they came back to Icann. They came to Icann so that we can have SS also used as the CCTLD. So sometimes it's a Polish question. It can be political. But they are the people who make a suggestion how we can deal, like how, like a CCTLD, we can stop something like that. They have a lot of topic. This is why we have, all of us, we have a lot to do. We have to help them because he has to sit down every day after his work. He has to go through documents because they are working every day. Also, Lawrence, all these people, community people, they are volunteers for the internet. So it is important to know that because these people, the volunteers, everyone is supposed to contribute. So if you are not like member of one of the organization, at your individual level also you can contribute. So most of the time, if you go to Icann website, there's a public comment. We call it public comment. You as an individual, you can go there. So I just came there to answer your question, but I want to go back to the presentation so that we'll have time to talk, but I want to take time. I'm doing a combined presentation on the three topic, but we have normally, we have many, we have three presentations, but I'm combining them in one, so that we can save time. So this is when I was talking about the domain name, we say that it is more easy to remember a domain name than the IP address. So, and then also mention that the top level is the most important part we are referring to in this presentation. So, as you can see, people already mentioned core, people mentioned org, people mentioned net, but they're just few. I'm saying that we have more than 1,200 today. We have more than one. So people are website developers for people. When people go to this company, most of the time they choose something for the client. So, but it's important for people who are developing, offering the service. It's important for them to know that we have more than 1,200 today. So if you have an hotel coming to you, develop a website for me, you should tell the hotel, if you're in Nigeria, for example, take .ng. You take .ng, you take also .hotels. You see, if you're in a hotel come to you, they want a website for them. So you can take the domain name, if the hotel name is ABC, you can ask the hotel to take abc.ng. You can also ask the hotel to take abc.hotels because it's an hotel. Why? Because hotels also is a new extension available. But many people really, they don't know that we have more than, if you are a photographer come to you to develop a website. We have .photography today. So the photographer can take .ng and then .photography. So it is important to know that we have a lot of choices. We have many choices today. We are no more limited. I think sometimes we have in mind 2 or 3 extensions, which is not the case. So it is very important to have this in mind. And then today, the reality is that today we have also domain names in scripts that we don't necessarily know. Domain names today, you can have a domain name in Chinese today. You can have a domain name in Arabic today. We have a domain name in Arabic today. We have top-level domain name in Arabic. We have domain name in Arabic. We have top-level domain name in Japanese. We have domain name in Japanese. So it is important. I'm not talking about content. I'm talking about the domain name. Because you can have a website where the address of the website is in ASCII character, the address, something.ng. You can have something.ng as an address of the website, but the content can be in Arabic. The content of the website can be in Arabic. So I'm not talking about the content. I'm talking about the domain name itself, which can be in a script different than the lattice script, where you have the character A to Z. So that is a reality about the top-level domains today. So we have a lot of top-level domains in the system. Again, as you mentioned, we have more than 1,200. You have .football today. We have .paris today. Do we have Lagos? Why don't we have Lagos? Who can tell me why? Why don't we have Lagos? Because no one asked for .Lagos. Because no one asked for .Lagos. Can an individual ask for? Oh, you follow the question? Can you use the microphone? Her question. Yes, I want people online also to hear you.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, since Lagos is a state in Nigeria, is it possible for an individual to request and Icann will give?
That is a good question, the question she asked. She said, can an individual ask for .Lagos? And I said that we don't have .Lagos, so her question, can an individual ask for .Lagos? If an individual asks for .Lagos, this individual need the approval of the authorities of Lagos. So that is a good question. So now you can, maybe you can tell people from the Lagos, people that there is this option. This is what this presentation is also about. Because I mentioned we can see we have Paris. Because at some point, people from Paris, they ask to have Paris. But this presentation or this session we are doing today, this is for this is the reason, so that people should know. Some key state, people should know that they have this possibility to ask for the cities at TLD. So they have this option. So if you want for Lagos, I can not everyone can go and ask for .Lagos. This person needs necessarily approval for the Lagos authorities before I can allocate or delegate Lagos to this person. And this will not happen maybe at any day. It will happen during the next round. So again, this is why we are talking about the next round. So it will happen during the next round. We had the previous round was in 2012. The previous round was in 2012. And the next one will be in 2026. You see that on the slide. On 2026 will be on the next round. So if people from some cities, they are interested, they should be preparing themselves from now. They should be preparing themselves from now. You have a question, I think. Yeah, the microphone to her, please. Yeah, please.
So, like the mention of Lagos, places that have they have a name in different places of the world. And Lagos is not only in Nigeria. There's Lagos in Portugal. So, I mean.
Mr. Bob. Bob. I don't know if Bob is on the call. So, we take your question, and it's a good question. You say we have Lagos in Portugal.
Yes.
Oh,
it's actually a Portuguese word.
Oh, it's a good point you raised. So we have Lagos in Portugal.
Yes.
Good question.
Lagos in Portugal.
Oh, good question. So we'll come back to that. So I see you are following. You are following. You see, this is why we don't have only technical people. We have lawyers. We have everyone. We have historian. We have economic people. We have everyone in Icann. So your point is a very good question. And I didn't know that we have Lagos in Portugal. I didn't know. So you are I'm learning something. I thought we have only Lagos here. So it is a good question. So we have, is it a city in Portugal? Lagos? It's a port. So that is a good question. So I'm sure Bob is also following us. Bob will answer this question. Last time I was in Senegal, and they asked me, they have Saint Louis in the US. And they were asking me who is going to have Saint Louis. But again, I want to take the opportunity to make a remark. It should be just one label. So Lagos in one label. But if we say Saint Louis, maybe they should make it one, Saint Louis, in one word, not in two words. So, but it's a good one. Lagos one. Bob will respond to that. A question, we take a note. I take note for your question. We'll answer the question about Lagos. Yeah.
No, it's not a question. I just wanted to add, and the word Lagos is LOS.
L?
OS. There's the same thing.
The same.
Like, no, the abbreviation. If you want to, yeah, LOS. So if you want to book a flight, so it's the same LOS.
Yes, but it's a good remark. But if people want Lagos as an identity, so they will prefer to have LAGOS as Lagos, and then we came out to the point that who can ask for the Lagos, because we don't have Lagos only in Nigeria, and I'm saying that my colleague Bob is also on the call. When we are opening the floor, we'll come back to that question. So again, I want to mention that we have more than 1,200 today, and the next round, what we are talking about this is that in 2026, people will have the option to ask for new extensions. So in 2012, we realized that many people were not informed. So it is for us to go back and to inform people that something is happening in 2026. And we are starting preparing now, because you will see in the next slide, because the next, what we call the applicant support program, is something starting in November this year. So this is why we are making this outreach. Again, we want to have a more inclusive internet. This is why
the Icann community is to working to this objective, more inclusive. And when we talk about universal acceptance of domain name, today we have longer domain names. We have domain names in other scripts. So all these domain names should be working. So this is why technical people, developers, they have some work to do. Because if you don't, you are a programmer. You are programming. You don't consider that we have longer names. You are not programming that we have longer or names in other characters. So we should not allow people to communicate with you. So if your system is not ready, again, I will take the question. Maybe I'll ask later. You can give me the microphone to ask the question.
I want to ask this question. I have observed, I do some domain name registration for people.
Okay.
I've observed that people lay much more emphasis on .com. And when you do international business with people, they rather prefer to see you as .com than see you as .ng. And why is it that .com seems to be much more expensive than a localized domain name?
You say .com is more expensive? Is
Yes.
it what you are saying?
Yes, if you want to register a company, you want to register a domain name. Now, if you're paying for that hosting and the domain name, you pay more for .com than you pay for .ng.
You pay more?
Yes.
Oh, give me the floor.
Thank you very much. My own name is Ebenezer Dari, and I'm a board member with the Nigerian Internet Registration Association. Normally, before now, .com used to be very cheaper to .ng, and everybody believes, the most popular extension is .com. To any business owner there, he said, I want in .com. For what? I want it a global whatever. Go for .ng. He said, no, it's limited, it's local, it's Nigeria. Whereas, just like, thank God for this kind of event, because you will be able to know that all these TLDs are from the same source. They are on the same level. Both .ng, .com, they are all on the same level. So now, the dollar exchange rate has made .com to be much more expensive than .ng. Why not go for .ng that is cheaper and affordable for you? And again, most of the domain names you want to register now in .com has been registered by somebody else, but they are still available in .ng, and they are doing the same thing. And that you are in US, that you are in Portugal, that you are in any part of the world, does not mean people cannot access your domain, cannot access your website. So why do we keep going after what is now out of reach in terms of affordability, in terms of availability? So it's better and important that we start going after .ng, which is our own, to build our brand, to help make global to push Nigeria also to the global limelight. So .ng is cheaper now, and it's better for you to go with .ng. Thank you.
I didn't know that before that .ng is cheaper. So, that is a good information. So let me tell you that, as he mentioned, .ng, .com, they are all top-level domain. So something is important also to know is that the domain name is something which is different of what we are using the domain name for. So people should know that you can, as you mentioned, .ng, you can have .ng. For a website, you can host it everywhere you want, anywhere you want, .ng. People can access from anywhere. So technically, the .ng and other TLD, they can serve the same purposes. Now the risk, if you're a company in Nigeria and you don't take your company, I'm saying a risk for you, if you are a company in Nigeria, you are not taking .ng. If I come to Nigeria, if the registry in some countries or some policies is first come from so in some countries, see, if I come to the country, even from outside, if your company is ABC and you are in Nigeria, you don't take abc.ng, you take abc.com. I'll come and take abc.ng. I'll come because if the policies first come serve, I'll take abc.ng. So, and I'll start posting things in abc.ng. So sometimes it can be a confusion for what you are doing. Because someone who knows that your company is ABC can all the time type abc.ng, and this person knows that you are from Nigeria. Instead of going to abc.com that you have, this person will go mostly to abc.ng. Which has nothing to do with you. So this is a risk for you. So it is important to know that the domain name itself is not expensive. Even if a company has .com, abc.com, the company can take abc.ng. And when people are going to a website, it could be abc.ng, abc.com, they will point to the same website. It is because people are lacking this information. People don't know that they have a .com. They should take, normally it's recommended to take also the .ng. So that is something important. So if you are a developer and someone come to you, and this person also have a domain name, you have, even if you are, it is very easy for now. I can say like 10 years or 15 years ago, the country code level domain names some years ago, they were very expensive. They were expensive, and people, for some reason, they were not confident. But I can tell you that all the CCTLD today, they have everything. They have technical skills. They have everything. They are offering the same, and even they are offering online payment in most of the country. I don't know here. Yes, in the past, you have to go to an office somewhere and pay in cash. But you have many TLDs. So we'll talk about that during break. We'll take the next question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for saying that. This thing you were saying, I've been hearing it for a long time. Oh, if you take .ng, this and that. But there's also another side to it. You know, there are some businesses that will not deal with you when they see .ng. No. It is true. It is true.
Oh, okay. I think we'll talk about that. But we are here for the next round, and it is for all of us to talk about all the domain names. All the domain names. If even if you can take, what I'm saying is that if you don't want to use .ng, you have other things. You take also the .ng for your own advantage. So you use .ng for what you want, but it is good to have also your .ng for the future, because what I'm saying, if I take this .ng to do what I want and take your company name with .ng, so it's not at your advantage. So what I'm saying is that you have a domain name, you can take, like in the next round, if you are already .ng, you can also take .lagos. If you have .lagos in 2026, in addition, the cost is not too much of the domain name. The domain name itself is not too much. So it is very important to also think about the value of the domain name for the future. So we have to think about future. So I can take your question and we continue.
It's more like a contribution.
Yes, go ahead.
I agree with what you're saying in the sense that if you have one domain name, you can take another because it's branding and it also helps with marketing as well. However, there's something called primary and secondary domain name. So your primary domain name can be like a .com, and then your secondary can be like .org, .net, .whatever, because it helps with SEO as well. You know, if anybody's searching from you from anywhere, you know, based on what they use mostly in their location, your domain name will pop up. However, like they said, the NG, the reason why many people run away from NG, me being, because I said that earlier, I've been running away. I've built several websites for people. I do not refer them to use NG. Why? Because we already know the economy of how things are in Nigeria. Everything they see NG, they label you as a scammer or something already. So a lot of people are shying away from the domain name .ng. So what people do now, or what I advise some of my clients to do, is buy if they can afford it, because obviously you cannot push cost on people. If buy as many of the domain names as you can, it will help you with your visibility online. So that's why I advise. But yes, buying that way works better than just buying just one domain name.
Okay, so during the next national event you are having, I think it is important that at national level you discuss how to promote .ng, because it's only us who should promote that one, saying that .ng is also like the other. But if we keep saying or just accepting what people say. So any country should try to promote the CCTLD. I'm not saying we should not take the other TLDs. Like I just mentioned, if you have .lagos in 2026 or .abuja or another city, we can. It is good for people to have. See the cost of the domain name today. They are not expensive, and the investment per year for a domain name, I think is something people should afford. People need just to know that is something possible. Let's move to the new GTLG program, the next round. Again, I'm saying that we talk about next round because we had a round in 2012. Since 2012, there was no option to have new top-level domain. There was no option since 2012. So we have a next round that is happening. So this is why we are talking today about this program. Again, we have the new domain name. I mentioned .photography. Many people, they don't know that there is .photography. So if you have a photographer coming to you to ask for a service, instead, if you ask him to take .ng, you can recommend him to also take .photography, because people will easily know his area of professional area if he takes .photography. So this person can take .photography, this person can take .ng, this person can take even .com. And again, I'm saying the cost of the domain name, if you take it a year, it's not a lot of money comparing to other charges that this person is paid about what is hosting or all these things. So the domain name itself is important. And as you can see, we have some domain names based on location. You see .durban. We have .durban in 2012. Maybe people in Nigeria, they didn't know that also they can take .lagos. I'm sure people in Lagos, they will be interested in taking .lagos. I think for branding, and people in Abuja, they can say, we want to take Abuja. And they will find a way. Even the people for Abuja, I'm just taking the name of some cities, Abuja, Lagos, etc. And you see that from this present, even if they don't have the technical capability, they can have people that can help them manage this. So it is for identity, it is based on location, and then your presence online, people can see better your presence online. So there are a lot of opportunities when you talk about the generic top-level domain. We have a lot of opportunities. So as we mentioned, business brand, even community group can have a domain names for the community. A community group can take a label which is referring to this community. So for the next round, these are the options possible. We mentioned already cities and regions. So cities and regions, people should also think about that. The script also, community script, so people can think about this generic top-level domain name. And the benefit, what are the benefits? There are a lot of benefits to have a generic top-level domain name. We have a lot of benefits. We have credibility, as I mentioned before. We can use that for monetization also. If you have a brand, we can have a security. Like if you have your own top-level domain, for a city, for example, you know people are managing that for you. You can control more. That's the domain name. So people can also, when you have that brand, it is a way of promoting your area also. So we have a lot of benefit having a domain name. Again, what I said is that if you want a top-level domain name, you may not have the technical capability to operate a domain name. Like a city, for example, the city doesn't need to have necessarily like all the equipment what we need. So to become to apply for a generator top-level domain name, the meaning is that you are applying to operate a piece of the internet. That is also important. It's critical, because if you are operating a top-level domain name, you are operating a piece of the internet. That is very important. That is a role you are playing. So you manage, you'll be a registry, like a registry operator, because the registry support all the domain name under this TLD. Like .ng, for example, the registry for .ng support all the domain names under the .ng. So if I have yaobi.ng, for example, so the registry in charge of .ng manage all the names under the ND, so it's a responsibility. So the registry operator set the requirement for the generic top-level domain name. So, and the registry operators also determines the second level. So if I have ND that as a top, if I have something after the ND, that is the second level. So that is the registry who take all this decision. Also, to become a registry operator, there are some financial considerations. Today, for the next round, the financial to evaluate the application, like if someone wants a top-level domain name for the next round, the evaluation fee is $227,000 US. Is it a lot of money? No, I know in Lagos, people have. It's not. Someone say it's not. It's not at all. Good. This is interesting. It's good that I hear that people can afford this amount. Yeah, people can afford this amount because people. If you see business, business in Nigeria, I think there's a lot of millions of dollars, a lot of money, and I know people can afford that in Nigeria. Even some people can just take it not to make business. People cannot take it because they have this brand for their company. So, like you have some companies today. If you go to the internet, you have companies. Dangote, for example, he can say, "I want to have Dangote." Why? He can decide to have that one for him, because I think Nigeria is a big country. This is what we need to know. Nigeria is a very big country, but sometimes I think we need to take more actions for people to know it's a very big country. People who never come to Nigeria, when they come first to Nigeria, they are very surprised. People are surprised when they come to Nigeria. I'm correct. People are surprised because what they think, they don't know Nigeria. When they come to Nigeria, they are surprised. And maybe sometimes people think that Nigeria is this Lagos. Here is also more than Lagos. And Lagos is expanding. So I think that it is important, what we are saying, people have the capability to think about extension in the next round. And it is also to share the message, to let people know that it is an opportunity, that in 2026 people have this opportunity. So some people want to operate, people need to have some financial resources. They need to also demonstrate operational, technical, and other capacities. And there's one that if they don't have that, they can also have some other companies help them. Like a city can have another company run the TLD for the city. So the city, maybe sometimes the city doesn't have to mind about how to operate. The city can use other resources, technical companies to operate. So we have some financial and technical consideration if you want to run a TLD. So the registry operator also is a company maintaining the database. Like any domain name under the TLD, this domain name should be up all the time. So meaning that the registry has to play some roles, very important role, to maintain the database. So we have something technical we call a zone file also, which is also important, the zone file. So there is something in Icann. So when there is a contract between Icann and the registry operators, so Icann is sure that when there is a technical problem, the database is somewhere, and then we can recover as Icann, so no one will lose his domain name. So these are some measures in place. And I can sign an agreement with the company who want to become a registry or operators. So there are some considerations to take. So when I mentioned that we have 227,000 as a fee for evaluation,
what is also good is that there is a program we call the Applicant Support Program. We have a program called the Applicant Support Program. So if we still have groups, companies, entities want to get a domain, a top-level domain name during the next round in 2026, and maybe they have a limited financial capabilities, there is a program we call the Applicant Support Program, ASP, Applicant Support Program. So this is what I'm going to talk now, the ASP. Again, to be eligible for assistance through the what we call the Applicant Support Program, the applicant should demonstrate general business due diligence, public responsibility due diligence, financial need, financial viability, and eligible entity status. So this program is a way for Icann to support entities willing to get a top-level domain name, a generic top-level domain name, but having a financial limitation. So this is why we have this program, Applicant Support Program. That is very important program, the Applicant Support Program. During the 2012 round, we had this program, but we think that maybe many people were not informed, but this is why we have started informing the community, sharing the information, and also counting on you to share this information about the applicant support program. So the candidate must be one of these entities. People can apply for the applicant support program. They should be one of the entity, non-profit, non-governmental, and and charitable organization. So that is one type of entities that can apply for the applicant support program, financial support. Intergovernmental organizations can also, indigenous tribal peoples organization, micro and small businesses that are social enterprise or that operate in a less developed economy. So these entities can apply for the applicant support program. So what can this, when someone apply for this, it can be a financial support or a non-financial support. So the financial, it can be a discount between 75 and 85% of the reduction. So if it is $227 application fee, and then the applicant gets the support, so it's now about 15 and 25% that the company is going to pay only. You see, the application will be very limited now. So it is a program to help people, companies having a limited support. Again, we have also non-financial support, training material, capacity development, a lot of, so the support can be financial or non-financial support. So all this information are available on the next round website. So you have even more detailed information on the next round website. So it is a process when people apply for the applicant support program. It's a process. So Icann will do some checks. So we have two phases, phase 1 and phase 2, including compliance check and other background screening check that Icann will be doing for these entities. So Icann will be doing some checks to see if this company can benefit from this support. So we have like phase 1 and phase 2. So after the phase 1, so we have another phase of evaluation of this organization applying for the support. So the applicants, so if they are supported or not, they are required to submit a completed application. So we have a phase starting soon. So if a company is supported or not for the next round of a new generator top level domain name, any company is supposed to
submit a completed application. So that is also all the applicant for the generic top-level domain name, whether they have a support or not, they need to apply. They need to demonstrate their technical, operational, and financial capability. So they need to demonstrate that. And also, there are other checks that Icann will be performing. So what I want to share with you in this process is this timeline, the key dates, because we have something happening this month in a few days. In a few days, Icann is going to open what we call the submission period for the applicant support program. Icann is going to open the submit period is the 19th of November. So it's less than 2 weeks time. So Icann is going to open the submission period. So this period is for entities willing to have a support. So if an entity is willing to have a support for a top-level domain name, so this entity should be able to apply from 19th of November. So the period will be for 1 year. So from 19th of November through the 19th of November 2025. So that will be the period when people can apply, when people can submit the interest that they need the financial support. That is very important. So if you think about the top-level domain name and you think that you may need financial support, so please, you can do that. There is a document also that is going to be published to give more information about the program of the new generic top-level domain name. We call it the applicant guidebook. So the guidebook will be up next year in December. That is a document we call the applicant guidebook. But the application itself for the generic top-level domain name, the period is from April 2026. From April 2026. So the period, so people are supported or people are not supported, so they will all need to submit their application from April 2026. So you see that we still have more than a year, but we are starting now so that people can prepare themselves for this program. I'm going to talk briefly about another program, which is the Registered Service Provider, RSP, which is a program also very important because we have on the continent today technical company, able to provide some technical services. Like you have an entity interested in the next round or to have a top-level domain name, but this entity may not have the capability to operate a top-level domain name. So we can have a technical company in Nigeria or somewhere who can be a registry service provider. So the registry service provider is the company providing the technical service. So Icann is going to evaluate company who can offer this service. So that is also something important to know. So the registry service provider deliver critical function on behalf of the operator. Like I said, an entity interested in running a top-level domain name without the technical capability, this entity can use a registry service provider. This entity can use a registry service provider. So a registry service provider can offer many services to entities interested in running the top-level domain name. So it is also one program. The evaluation program is something that Icann will be doing to evaluate companies. So now Icann will share these entities that are technical able to do that operation. Icann will share this information for people who want a TLD, top-level domain, but they cannot, they don't have the technical capability of doing that. So it is also a program that Icann is going to run. The registry service program, Icann is going to run that, which is different from the applicant support program. So you remember I'm talking about the applicant support program, which is a support to entities who want to have a top-level domain name. And I mentioned that it can be technical, it can be financial, but the registry service provider also is a program where Icann is going to evaluate entities that want to offer this service. I want to share with you also some a timeline and resources for this one. It's a global timeline if you see on the screen. So you see, this is a combination of all the programs on this slide. You see we have from 19th of November, you see this year. So this one is about the applicant support program. This one is about the applicant support program. So we have it starting on the 19th of November. And then we close, I'm talking about this, 19th of November 2024. The applicant support program submission period closing 19 November 2025. So that is for the applicant support program. Now, we have a pre-evaluation for companies or entities who want to be registry service providers. So we have the period opening for the pre-evaluation starting on the 19th of November, but the pre-evaluation will stop on the 20th of May next year. So that is for the registry service provider period. Now, you will have the registry service evaluation application period will open again from second quarter of 2026 to the third quarter. So you have also this one. So as you see, that gives you a general overview of what is the agenda for this program. So I want to stop here for the first part. But what I want to tell you before I stop on this first part is that we have a lot of resources online. We have a lot of resources online. And this activity we are doing today, we hope the community to continue doing that because we have a lot of resources available online that you can use to help Icann doing the outreach. So we have the website you can use, which is for information, what you need to share with the community. You have everything on this website. So if you go to the Icann website, you go to the next round. So we have a link where you can see what we call resources. So when you go to resources, even the presentation I'm doing today, you can see that there. So you go just to the internet, you search for next new GTLG program or from Icann website, and you have a lot of resources today. So there is something we call Champion Toolkit. So if you want to deliver a presentation to your community or to everyone, you are free to use these resources, and you can send an email to this address all the time, engagement.newgtlgprogram@icann.org. I think Bob will be happy to respond as soon as you send this request. And we have also, you have some flyers. When you came, you have some flyers. So some of these flyers are there that you can also print and use. So what I want to do, I want to stop there. And because maybe before we open, yeah, we have some questions. We have the Vice President who was following since the beginning. Maybe I'll give the floor to Bob to answer the question also about Lagos in Nigeria and Lagos in which country? Bob, I don't know if you can hear me. There is a question about Lagos. Bob, if you can answer that question, who can ask for Lagos, Bob? Bob is online, but I don't know if Bob can speak now. Bob, can you answer the question about Lagos? Okay, before we have Bob, I want to give the floor to maybe the Vice President, Pierre Dandino, who want to say something before we open the floor and answer the questions. Pierre, you may have something to add before. Do you have a participant online who has a question before I come back to the room? You can just raise your hand and we give you the microphone. If you are online and you want to say something, a comment, a question, please can you raise your hand and we give the microphone. Okay, can we have the microphone here for her to answer her question while I have Bob answer the previous one. Go ahead, please. Thank you. You introduce just your name and then you ask the question.
Okay, my name is Bimsola Esho. So the question I really want to ask is that the people seated here.
Is the microphone working?
It's working. The people seated here in this hall, I like the presentations that we've given. We've heard the Icann and all that. What is it that the people sitting inside this hall can do? I mean, with Icann, or can, I mean, at this, because I came to this meeting, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it that, okay, I'm in this meeting, they're talking about Icann, they're talking about these programs. So everybody sitting in this hall, at least I'm speaking for myself, what is it that I can do?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. What can you do? Now, the first thing is to decide yourself from what you heard. If you are interested in running a top-level domain, if you are interested, that can be one option. If you are interested in running a top-level domain, that is one. And then, as we mentioned, if you decide to run a top-level domain, it's a big responsibility if you decide to run a top-level domain. Because in addition to the responsibility, you need some capability. First, the financial capability. The second one is the technical one. So now, assuming that you have these two, financial and the technical one, you may decide that because of the internet, because of the future, I want this label I want as a top level, I want this label to be also online. Because we have seen dot name of some cities. So you can decide that I want the name of my city also to be online. So now, if you don't have the financial capability, this is where you have to apply for the applicant support program. So what you can do is that for yourself, you decide if you're interested. The second was, as I mentioned, the role the community is playing in Icann. You can decide also to share the information. Because in 2012, I'm saying why we didn't have any city name from Nigeria. Maybe people were not informed. So maybe what you can do also as someone sitting in this room is to share back this information. Like we have some flyers. Like what you can do is that if you have some flyers left, you can just maybe take 2 sets of flyers also, and share with people. So it's something you do that you help people to get the information. Because we have some fund available. I don't know the total amount, Bob or my colleague Pierre will say. So we have some fund available to help people who want some top-level domain. So this is what you can do as a member, because we all have a role to play, to share, to spread the word that we have this happening. So after 2026, we should see more names, a top-level domain name from the region. If you don't see that, maybe people are not interested. And again, I'm saying if you want to run a TLD, it's a responsibility. You can not just decide to run a TLD because you want to run it.
So you want to run it because you have a brand, or you want the name for a community, and you want us to be present on the internet. You want to be present on the internet. So, like you have a specific number for your community, you want this name to be present on the internet. So in the next round, you can see people who just ask for the TLD because they wanted this brand to be on the internet. So, but they didn't know that it's something they can do. So in Africa and some developing country, people are having now the information and they are starting preparing themselves. So I hope I answer your question. Any other question?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, please.
So it's not so far-fetched from her question, yeah? But what I wanted to ask is, say for example, in Nigeria we love business, so we're looking for new ways to generate more income, right? So this registry that you spoke about, the RSP program, the registry something program, is there a way we can monetize it? Like, is it like you saying that we're partnering with Icann to get more people to buy TLDs, top-level domains? Is that what you're saying? Like, I'm coming in now as a business, I want to be a registry. Are you saying now that I can partner with Icann to get more people to buy TLDs from my registry? Is that possible?
Oh, let me, it's a question, let me answer the question. So, it's a good point. So, the next round of generate top-level domain is an opportunity for two things. First, to have an entity to ask for a new top-level domain. Now, also for the technical or the business entities also, one technical business to decide to be a registry operator. So one technical entity can now decide to be a registry operator. So there are some requirements. If you go to there is a full presentation on the registry service provider evaluation program. There is a whole presentation. So if you are a technical entity, you can position yourself. You can position yourself as a registry service provider. You are not running a top-level domain name yourself. For yourself, you are running for people. So now if you are a registry service provider, so you are offering this service to people who want, let's say it can be a municipality, who want the TLD, but they don't want to invest in servers, in connectivities, in other things. Now they come to you because you have been through the evaluation program of Icann. So if a company is interested to offer this service in the future, so this company should go through the evaluation program. So you can go through the evaluation program, and then if you are accepted, now Icann will share your name that you are evaluated, that you can offer this service. And then people can come to you now to help them to run the TLD, the top-level domain. So people can come to you to help them run the top-level domain. I don't know if you see the difference.
Yeah, so two more questions.
Yes.
So let me start with the easiest one. How do we become like members of the Icann community?
Oh, a good question. How can we become a member of the Icann community? So, again, I shared a presentation before where we had Icann community organized. We have what we call the supporting organizations and the advisory committees, which are the way Icann is organized officially. So, in addition to that, we can say you are already a member of the community this way. So if you see this presentation, for example, the one I had before, how you can become a member of the community, you can become a member of the community through one of these groups. So we have two organized groups in the Icann. One group is called supporting organizations. We have the supporting organizations in the Icann, and we have also what we call the advisory committees in Icann. We have the supporting organization, we have the advisory committees. So these are just committees. These are just committees representing group. Like if you go back to the supporting organization, for example, You have the CCNSO, Country Code Name Supporting Organization. So we have a council. We have a council of CCNSO, and Mr. B is member of this council. But we have also other people who are already who are member of the community, but they are not member of the council. But he is a member of the council. So the community is already people, or like people managing the top level domain name. So this group is a group of country code top level domain names. So any member of the country code name supporting organization is a community member. To answer your question, you like an individual, we call a group, we call ELAC. You see ELAC, for example, you see the ELAC voice the interest of the individual internet users, and it composed of 15 members. So ELAC is also a committee. At large, advisory committee is a committee. ELAC, we have 15 members in ELAC. So these are people directly in the community. But again, if you see ELAC, we have 15 people. We have 3 people from Africa. We have 3 people from Africa. There is an organization in Africa we call AFRALO, Africa Regional at Large Organization. In AFRALO, what do we have? Like if you have an association, end user association, your association can join AFRALO. So that is a way for you being a member of the community. So, but when your association, for example, is member of AFRALO, all the members of the association, we call them the community members. Even without joining any association, you are already a community member as an internet user. So anytime we have, you go to Icann website, and there is a call for public comment, you can contribute to the public comment as an individual. So the community everyone is a community member. So this is the way Icann operate. So we have formal groups. We call them advisory committee, supporting organization, formal groups. In addition to this one, we have working groups, a lot of working groups. So within the generic name supporting organization, GNSO, we have, when you go to the Icann website, when you go to generic name supporting organization, we have again a lot of groups under the GNSO, generic name supporting organization. So just go to the Icann website, you'll see a lot of working groups. So as a community member, like when you register to join the Icann meeting in Istanbul, for example, happening in a few days, you are already a member of the community. You can contribute, even online, from your mobile phone. You follow a discussion, you can contribute, you can use a chat room. So this is how the community is organized. Anyone interested or contributing, following Icann is already coming. So we have people representing the community, but we can say everyone using this is like a community user. We have what we call we have a group which we call them the contracted party. These are the business people, like people we call the registries, like people who have a contract, that direct contract with Icann, a financial contract. We call them, there are some we call Icann accredited registrars. So we have a few in Africa. We have some from Nigeria also. We have Icann accredited registrar from Nigeria. This organization, they can go to any registry, register their name. Like you have NIRA, who has the accredited registrar by NIRA itself. So, but we have what we call the Icann registrar. So the community is represented through the true main groups, the supporting organization, and the advisory committee. But at a different level, you can also contribute to Icann through a working group, for example. When you go to Icann website, you will see a call. Icann is looking for people to join this working group. And then that is the way Icann is working. I can tell you the community is playing a very important role. I don't want this answer your question.
Yeah, that's fine. So final question, sorry everyone. But this is money related, so that's why I said before last. So say that you said something about the registry evaluation. So let's say that I've been registered as a registry, my business is a registry. I've been evaluated by Icann, and they say, okay, fine, you can go ahead and look, get people to register for TLDs. Is there like a sort of standard that Icann has that says, okay, fine, you can't charge your customers a certain amount because they're already paying this amount, or can we mediate to bring the cost lower for them? So let's say that they're paying 227,000, and as a registrar, I'm saying that, oh, it's too high for my clients. Can you bring it lower? Can I mediate for my clients is what I'm saying. And can I earn as a registrar?
Yeah, so it's a question that is at the two levels.
Yes.
Because the first one is the fee for the evaluation fee, which is 227,000. So the option for that is that this amount came after some calculation. So this is why we have this 227,000. Now the option for that people cannot afford is for these people to go to the applicant support program from the 19th of November to go to apply. So that is the option for them. But you cannot, there is nothing you as a registry service provider you can do. But you, once you are a registry service provider, I'm not sure how these people will charge, how much they will charge to the people who want to run registry. So you as a registry service provider, maybe you can decide how much you charge to offer this service. So this is what I can say. Again, Bob is normally in the call. I don't know, Bob, if you want to add to that, my answer. So you as a registered service provider, you can tell people that there is a service, a project, which is the applicant support program. So talking about this also, this is a way to prepare yourself. Because if you have people supported as an applicant, so you have potential clients. You have potential clients for tomorrow, you as a registered provider. Because if there is no people who want to apply for a TLD, who is going to come to you to ask for your service? So one thing you can do also is talking about the applicant support program. So you have some people in the pipe that eventually tomorrow can be your clients. So if you take like a community, groups, different groups, they don't need necessarily to put in place servers, all these things. But if they know about this program, and then Icann will publish later companies evaluated to run the registry program, you will be on this list, and these people can come to you. But if you don't have people ready to apply for TLD, you will be evaluated. If it is a new business you want to run, maybe you will invest and you may not find people. But we already have people. We have a structure in the place like the CCTLD is an example, country code top level domain registry. They are already doing this business. They are already in the business. So they may decide to go to get evaluated. Or you are a new company, you can put this in place and you are evaluated. So that is a way you can play, like informing people that there is a program, applicant support program, so that at least you have potential clients who can come to you later in the future to ask for your service. So Bob, I'm asking again if you are you want to add to that, Bob. I'm checking if Bob is there connected.
Yeah,
Oh, Bob. Bob, you have two questions. The first one, is we have Lagos in Nigeria, we have Lagos in Portugal. So the question, who can ask for that Lagos? That's in the first question. The second one is about someone who is a registry service provider, if this person can impact on the evaluation fee. So I'm sure you are here, you can add more to the answer I provided, Bob. Over to you, Bob.
Yeah, so I think those are good questions. The first one is what we call, and that's a very typical scenario.
Bob, I think the voice is a bit low. Maybe if you can try. I'm asking technical people to also try if you can hear you better. Bob, over to you.
How about now?
Thank you so much. That's good.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I was just saying that for the first question on if there are more than one application for the same name, that is the question. It could be Lagos, it could be Yauvi, it could be Lawrence. So if more than one person applies for a particular name, there is a very rigorous process to determine who eventually prevails. Remember, at the end of the day, only one entity can operate each name. So you cannot have, say, .Lagos awarded to more than one applicant. So we have a very comprehensive process that takes applications that are received by more than one applicant through a process. We call them contention sets, meaning that you have names that have got more than one applicant. It could be 2 applications for the same name, 3 applications for the same name, or even 10 applications for the same name. Part of the process is giving the applicants an opportunity to try and resolve among themselves who would they wish or who do they agree amongst themselves to operate the name. If not, eventually there is something that we call an auction of last resort, meaning that those applicants have not been able to agree amongst themselves on who would then take the name, probably by compensating the other, applicants, and therefore they have to resolve this through a commercial process, which is an auction process. In this auction, and the rules are still under development and will be published on what you have issued as the applicant guidebook. It will give guidelines on how that auction will happen. It could be a scenario where you outbid the other applicants. So if Yahweh had applied for .Lagos and I applied for .Lagos, and we can't agree, so then we go for an auction, and where we one more time bid for the name fresh. So I can bid $100. We cannot bid, say $200, until we get to a point where the winner is actually declared, the highest bidder essentially, then takes the name. So that is how contention sets are resolved. It's taken through a process. Part of it is to give all those applicants that have applied for the same name to have a chance to resolve it between themselves. If they cannot, then we will prescribe an auction process through which a bidder, the winner is determined. Because eventually, the name can only be awarded, or the contract on who operates the name can only be between one entity and Icann. So I hope that gives clarity on how more than one application is handled in this case. For the second question around the fees and if you are a registered service provider, so just to clarify that we have 2 concepts here. You have application for a top-level name. This one will be, opened in 2026 in April, where you can apply for, like the example you've given here, .Lagos. So if you ever want to apply for .Lagos, you will do that in 2026 around the April timeline. However, if you want to apply for that .Lagos, but you'd want to be, and that application fee is what we are saying will be 227,000. So if you intend to apply for .Lagos, but you know that you will not be able to raise these fees, you already know that by now, then we have a program called the Applicant Support Program, which, as the Avia has already outlined, will be able to support organizations in specific categories, not-for-profits, small and medium enterprises in developing economies, or that are social enterprises, or you are an IGO, or an indigenous people's community group. So if you are in those 4 categories and you want to apply for .Lagos in 2026, then you are invited, or you will be invited to apply for support to subsidize that fee come this November 19. So you'll have a chance to apply, and if you're successful, then you will be eligible for support come 2026 to the tune of 85%. So that is application for a top-level name. Now, if you are applying to run or to offer back-end services for those who want to apply for names, remember when you're applying for a name, you need either to be yourself running a back-end service or, providing your own technical platform, or you outsource that to people that provide those platforms. So if you, as the RV says, if you don't want to invest in servers, you don't want to invest on a technical platform, you can outsource it. But you can also, run your own technical platform if you are capable. Now, those are the people we call registry service providers. They actually are the hosting platforms for names. So anyone that will apply for a name either has to outsource that service with a competent technical service provider, or yourself, you have to be a competent technical service provider to host your own name, your own application. So every application must be accompanied by a corresponding technical service provider that is also approved. The relationship, so if you are not providing your own backend service, or if you don't have your own technical platform, then you need someone else who has that platform. Obviously, there will be a commercial relationship between you and that technical service provider, because now they are providing you a service. It's like you have registered a domain name, and you want a hosting entity to host it for you. So you then look at the different options that, or terms or fees that they are charging. Those are fees that are between you and the registered service provider, not Icann. So whatever you agree is what you'll be paying this technical service provider, because you are paying them to host your name. But it is a requirement by Icann that there has to be a technical service provider that is approved, or if you are providing your own technical service for your names, then you also have to be approved. And this has got no relationship with the application fee that we're talking about for the TLD itself. So I don't know if I've confused the room or if
No, Bob, thank you.
clarified.
It's a lot of clarification. We still have 20 minutes, but there are some questions. We hope you will be with us. But I have one thing. I didn't present the aspect of RSP. I didn't mention financial aspect. I don't know if you can raise that, because we raised some amount for the evaluation. For if there is a company interested being evaluated for the RSP, are there some minimum financial obligations for these people? Bob, thank you.
I think you are breaking on my end, so I didn't get that.
Oh, Bob, I'll repeat though. Is there a financial obligation for a company who want to go through the RSP evaluation program, a minimum financial
yes.
requirement? Thank you, Bob.
Yes, that is correct. So, so that we are cleared, we probably don't confuse anyone. So there are 3 different applications that we are informing you about today. The overall application is applying for the next round, which is applying for a name in 2026. That will require an application fee or an evaluation fee that has been pegged at $127,000 at the moment. Now, as we said, if you need support, then you also need to apply for support. So that's the other part of the application. In this November, it will be open on 19. Now, that one has got no fee. You just apply if you need to be supported in 2026. Come November this year, if you qualify, you apply. There is no fees for that. Now, if you want to provide back-end services, whether for your own application come 2026, or to be able to provide this for other people come 2026, then you need to apply for your platform to be evaluated, to be tested and certified as approved and technically sound to host a top-level name by Icann. That fee is $92,000. And that application will open also from November 19 this year and will run for 6 months. So November to May
Bob,
of
please, can you repeat
2025.
the amount? They say that is very low. Can you repeat the amount? The amount again, Bob, please.
92 is
Thank you.
92,000. Yeah.
They said 92,000 US dollar, not naira. 92,000 US dollar. Bob, continue, please.
Yes, so that is the evaluation fee for RSPs. Remember, these are people that operate back-end services on behalf of top-level domain name applicants. So they will be evaluated to confirm that they have the technical capacity to operate a name. Remember, it is a huge responsibility, and therefore the technical platform must meet very specific criteria for it to be allowed to host any top-level domain name. And Icann, has to guarantee everyone that this name and the platform that is hosting it has the capacity to ensure that it is fully available all the time. Imagine if .ng was to go down today, everything under .ng will be offline. On the new GTLD space, or on the generic top-level domain name space, that is a critical responsibility that Icann has oversight over. And therefore, it starts by ensuring that the technical back-end service providers, or rigid service providers as we call them, have the capacity and have met the very stringent requirements to ensure that such eventualities are either, completely avoided or cannot happen, or there are proper mitigations in place that should such a scenario happen, there is, room and time to notice that ahead of time and mitigate accordingly. So it's a huge responsibility to provide a technical service platform, and Icann has to, attest and confirm that you have the capacity to do that. That is why that evaluation is necessary for technical service providers.
Thank you very much. We have 2 more questions. Two questions. Bobby, if you can stay online, we take the question for you. I hope you can hear the room. To the lady and then to the gentleman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bob. Talking about, because I see regarding the Lagos...
Excuse me, Bob, can you hear the room? Bob, can you hear?
Yes, Elvin.
Okay, go ahead, madam.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Bob. The question is, now that we say it's better to get the Lagos authority to get involved before we will be able to put out the name, an individual might be interested, but of course, once the government gets to know about it, of course, they want to buy it over, and you might not really want reselling. So what Icann do, what are they putting in place to ensure, you already said, of course, we'll have to get the country, but the individual that is pitching the opportunity to probably the states must know what is in it, or, for him or her. Then regarding also the registry, now that he mentioned the amount to it, is Icann offering anything? Is it on installation basis? Is it at once? Is it a one-off? Then what are they willing to come up with to support the individual? Thank you.
Oh, maybe Bob, you can answer that before I take the second one.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so if I heard you right, I think the question is around, so if someone else applies, for example, for the Lagos, and then later on government, gets to be aware, how does that go? Can it take it back, or something around those lines? And the second part is whether there is any support for, to help those who want to apply for RSP programs. So if I heard you right,
yes.
For the first part, if you are applying for, so we have different categories of domain names. We have names that we are calling brand names, for example, .Coca-Cola, .MTN, and there are rules in place that govern depending on which name someone applies for. So, for example, if you applied for .MTN and you are not MTN, obviously you will need to prove that you are MTN or you are Coca-Cola. So you'll have to provide documentation for the same. There are a group of names that we call geographic names, and that has got a very specific, detailed set of rules on what you can't apply for, and for cases where you can apply for a geographic name. So geographic names are names of countries or cities of countries. For you to apply for such a name, the example that you're using here is .Lagos, is that you will need either to be a government agency or you will need a letter of authorization from the relevant government agency with jurisdiction over that particular geography. So if it is Lagos, obviously we'll need a letter from governor or the mayor or the government of federal government of Nigeria or the Ministry of ICT from Nigeria, giving you a letter of no objection for you to apply for .Lagos if you are not, part of the government. So an individual cannot just apply for a geographic name and it is accepted. So there are safeguards in place that, clarifies the different kinds of names and the criteria for people that are applying for them. So we don't just accept applications from anyone, depending on what name that you choose to apply for. So that's important to clarify. In terms of is there support financially at the moment for applying as a technical service provider, the answer is no. The only support available at the moment is for people that would apply for, would want to apply for domain names in 2026, not technical service providers who are hosting platforms for TNDs. So for technical providers, unfortunately, there is no support in place at the moment. And anyone who is planning to do that should be able to meet or facilitate the application fee at the moment by themselves.
No, Linky, that's the question if this payment is a one-time payment. Someone asked that. A one-time payment?
Yes.
Okay, you say yes. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's a one-time. So the evaluation fee is once off to get evaluated and approved. It is a once-off fee. In fact, in the last round, the fee was much less, but for every domain name that you applied for, you will be evaluated for it. So let me give you an example. If you are a technical service provider and you are applying to host, or you have received a request from someone to host their name, say .bob. So I appoint Yaovi as a technical service provider to host .bob. Then Yaovi will pay for his service, his technical platform to be evaluated. If he receives another request from another person, so say he receives 10 requests, each of them will be evaluated afresh and at a thrown fee. Ultimately, that fee ended up being a lot because it simply means that for each and every name that a backend service provider is hosting, they were evaluated independently. So if you're hosting 10 names, you were evaluated 10 times and you paid 10 times. So eventually the fee was a lot for backend service providers. So this time round, you are evaluated once and you can host as many names as your capacity or as you have the capacity to host, or you can market, and get people that are hosting with you. The evaluation is a once-off, and it approves you to host as many names as you can host.
Oh, thank you, Bob. We have a question online. We can let the Nkem online to ask his question, and we come back to the room. Mr. Nkem, you can speak. Mr. Nkem, ask your question. Oh, Madam Nkem, sorry.
Unmute. Hello, good afternoon all.
Good afternoon, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
All right, this is Nkem Weke for the record. Nice to hear you, Bovi and Bob. I'm just wondering, if, assuming I applied for the Lagos, we have Lagos in other geographical areas of the world. Am I expected to get the permission from across all the other Lagos city in the world?
Oh, sorry, Bob already answered that, but Bob, please, if you can come again 1 minute briefly. Bob, you got the question?
I mean, we have Lagos in other parts of the world. I think there's a Lagos in Portugal.
Yes, Bob already answered that. He said that, Bob, can you quickly re-answer the question?
Alvin, sorry, that's the question I wanted to talk about. Bob didn't answer the question, the question directly. I think he got the question wrong. What Bob answered was two people submitting the same name.
Yeah.
So the question that Madam Nkem is asking is, we have .Lagos in Nigeria, we have .Lagos in Portugal. So if one person, if one company or one entity is requesting for .Lagos from Icann, does the person have to go to Portugal to go and get the authority for him to use .Lagos and come to Nigeria to get the authority to use .Lagos? That's the question now.
Yeah.
Just get it from Nigerian authority,
One second.
or just get the authority from the Nigerian authority. Just get their permission to host .Lagos. Will that be all? And you can take over .Lagos even when there's .Lagos in Portugal.
No, excuse me. Bob will say that, but Bob clearly said that we can have just one entity applying for .Lagos. So Bob said that. So it should be one. You are representing Lagos here in Africa or Lagos so it should be only one application. So Bob, that is a question about Lagos there.
No, I think you're getting the question wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I've understood the question.
Bob, you understand the question?
Yeah.
The question is, do I need, because it's a geo name, do I need the permission only from one of the entities, or do I have to get permission from all the entities that have the name?
Yes, exactly.
So it's a good question, let me just preempt that the rules are not yet finalized on this, but so far this is the scenario. So essentially, you have Lagos in Nigeria, and you are an applicant from Nigeria, probably a government agency from Nigeria who has the authority to apply for .Lagos in Nigeria. So you qualify to apply for .Lagos. Then there happens to be potentially Lagos in Portugal, and someone also applies for that particular, Lagos in Portugal. Who has the right to apply? Okay. So that's one scenario. The other scenario is you are allowed to apply for .Lagos in Nigeria, and there's only one applicant for .Lagos that comes up. But then, on evaluation, someone objects from Portugal that Nigeria, cannot operate Lagos because Lagos is in Portugal. So that's an objection. That is someone saying, no, you cannot apply for this name because it is our name. And Nigeria says, no, Lagos is Nigeria. So that's a different problem. So there is a potential problem at the application stage where you have more than two applications for the same name. That's a contention set. Okay? Then there's a different problem when someone applies for a name and there's an objection by another interested party who did not apply, but for one reason or another has a reason to say no, or to object to that particular application. That is now a dispute resolution process then kicks in. And that is also quite elaborate, and it can take very many routes and adjudication scenarios. And I have to say that the details of the way various disputes will be resolved is under development, but that is a dispute scenario. The way contention sets will be resolved, that's a case where you have more than one application for the same name, is equally quite detailed and being finalized. So I hope this makes sense, and I fully understand the two contexts of the question. The scenario where it is more than application, more than one application, and the scenario where there's a dispute because this Lagos could also be in Kenya or in Rwanda or in the US. So who has the authority to, apply for it? So that's a dispute scenario. And we'll have, a very well-crafted guidelines on whether that name can then be admissible or not. So I hope this helps.
Thank you, Bob, for this input, and thank you very much. We have also Pierre Dandino, the Vice President, hands up all the time and also connected since the beginning. Let's give the floor to Pierre Dandino. Pierre, over to you.
Thank you very much, Yalvi, and I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, and also from what Bob said, I think Bob actually
Pierre, we lost you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now, Pierre.
Requesting from the same thing. And we do have rules, the way those cases are dealt with. Of course, UDRP, which is the dispute resolution procedure, exists as a tool. You also said, the geo names, all of these also specifications. And you also have the role that the GAC sometimes has to play on those things. There are things that we call reserved names. I understand, for instance, in Africa, that there have been a few names that were reserved, and so that we know exactly in which condition, those things should be granted to whoever is requesting. But yes, these are cases that can, really happen when you go requesting for this sort of be aware of, what might be happening and what condition and what could be I would say, steps, that you'll be taking. But again, Bob, I also think that since we are talking about geo names, it's important that our colleague also understand what the like of GAC, having in terms of the geo name and before they could go for that name. I think there is some work to be done here. Maybe on our part, but also on the part of those who wanted to stand up for the names. But it's a very important question, and I know that we are going to have more and more of that. So yeah, let me pause here.
Thank you, Pierre. Maybe Bob can react on that, and then I can ask you, Pierre, again to say a final word before we close the session, because we are almost through, and then I think Bob can maybe comment what you said, and then you can say some final word before we go back to the host. Bob?
Is it audible now? You can hear me?
Yes, can hear you, Bob.
Yes, great. Thanks, Pierre. So, yeah, I think Pierre is just pointing out that there are a number of, safeguards in place, and some of it needs to be brought to the attention of our various community supporting organizations, for example, the Government Advisory Committee representatives, and Nigeria, has representatives in the Government Advisory Committee. So what will happen is when all the applications have been received, in 2026, then there is a publication day that we call Reveal Day. On that day, all the names that have been applied for will be published. So people will be able to see for the first time all the names that have been applied for. And at that point, anyone has got an opportunity to raise an objection, including governments or as PSA's GAP members, to raise an objection to any of those names that have been applied for by different entities, and say that they have a problem with any of those names or many of those names. That's the starting point of objections and the objection process, and everyone has the right to object. But of course, you will be required to provide justification for your objection. So you can also not just object for the purpose of objecting. So that is a very important transparency step before even evaluation starts, so that when evaluation starts, at least you are moving on with names that at least maybe you are aware have got no objections, or you are aware have objections, but whoever has applied is intending to defend the application, because you could also receive objection, but then the applicants, probably would be able to justifiably defend their own right to apply for those particular names. So then that will play out in that manner. But it is important that even though you might not be planning to apply, that you are aware about this process, and if ultimately there are names that do come up from other places, from other continents, that shouldn't be going in those places. If someone from China applies for .Lagos, and the government of Nigeria feels that that should not happen, then they'll have a right to object. But they can only do that if they are also monitoring and following the process. That is why it is important to also be involved, even as a community, as an opportunity to also protect the names that you'd want to protect, either by objecting or actually applying for them.
Thank you, Bob and Pierre. I think with the participants, those online, and then we want to appreciate your time, because we started a bit late, but I appreciate that, because I used to fight against people being late because of people online, and we want to thank them. They are still online. So we have a question before we take the last one from the room. We have a question from Remy in the room online. Bob, if the process of application and the applicant decides to pull out, will there be a refund of money if some funds had been expended or paid to Icann? Thank you. That is a question, Bob. Let's take the last question and then you respond to all of them.
Okay, thank you very much. So my question is, if someone wants to apply for more than one name, the $227,000, is it per name, or can you use that money for the all the ones you want to apply for?
Well, you get the second question. Okay, you answer the two questions, Bob. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so evaluation fee is for every name. So every name is an application, because every name will be evaluated, and it is the cost of the evaluation that brings that fee. So if you apply for 10 names, then there will be 10 evaluations for all the names that you've applied for. And so therefore, that cost will go into those respective evaluations. The first question
is in the chat from Remy. If the process of application.
Yes. So if you change your mind, and you've already maybe applied and would not want to proceed anymore, it depends on at what stage are you changing your mind. If you're changing your mind before anything happens, maybe you see an objection to your name, and then you withdraw your application, then you get your refund. So therefore, the refunds will be due, but it will depend on at what stage are you probably withdrawing. If it is at the stage where some costs have been incurred to process the name to that particular stage, then those costs will be deducted out of your evaluation fee, and the rest will be refunded. So it depends on at what stage you're withdrawing, but yes, you are eligible to withdraw your application and get your refund at any point.
Thank you very much, Bob. A round of applause to Bob Osheng for his contribution. Oh, people are sleeping. Thank you very much. So I see many people still online. Maybe Pierre will want to say a final word to them, and then we have the host to officially close the session today. So Pierre, over to you.
Thank you, Yavi, and again, thank you all. I think it was a good thing that you were able to meet. Probably one of the questions we may be having right now is, what's next? What's going to be the way forward after all of this, event talking, that you guys have here, and understand that you all were able to take a few sort of information or knowledge away with you. Is quite important, and I would like to say that as far as we are concerned, the next step should be to continue spreading the word on this RSP program, on this PLSP program. In fact, that are subcomponent, of the new GTLD program. So it's quite important that this is coming as a specific sort of support that Icann would like to be giving to these categories of our audiences. So it's important that you help us really spread the word. I understand that we might be having a kind of national sort of webinar on the same issues that you are going to help us, expand the audience so that we could reach out to those who might be interested, be there, enterprises or individuals who might be interested, that we are able to provide as much knowledge as we have, and also understanding of the whole process. So with that, I'd like to thank, Lawrence and his group for kind of assisting in putting together this event, and hopefully we should be talking again. We do have a few sort of constraints in terms of timeline. We should be having a first sort of report, by the end of November. I hope we'll be having the webinar at that time, so that we know exactly also what you think about this. What are your suggestions also, so that we can better the whole process and are able to attract more sort of interested person. So with that, let me stop here again, and thanks very much for your participation. And Yavi, I understand that I'm the one between you and your lunch, right? So bye for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Let's
much,
be in
Pierre.
touch.
Please, let's put our hands together for, let's put our hands together for the GSC team for Africa, headed by Pierre Dongenou. We celebrate you too, Yaovi, for making this event possible. We thank Bob. Bob has been a part of the team. He's still a part of the African family. Thank you for the time you've put into this. And we also want to say a big thank you to all others who have supported this process, to June and co. Thank you. We very much appreciate this, and we look forward to working with you continuously. To everyone that is seated here, both in person and online, I want to say that this is just the beginning. There is a lot of work ahead. I'm happy that we have been able to impart some information, and what we want to see, hopefully, is you stepping forward to reach out to your contacts, to your networks, and letting them know what is happening in the domain space, not just in Africa, globally, the opportunities that are coming up, and wherever it is that you need support, you are able to get it from the team that we have here. I'll be speaking to Yaovi to provide us the presentation. We have your emails, and so we will email this to you. We could also share their contacts. They're all online. Thank you. So we'll point you to where you can get those materials and their contacts in case you want to follow up with more information or you have a question or two. Whenever it is that we call, please oblige us again. And I want to also end by saying that we have provided very, very little refreshment for those of us who are here in person. Please, there is a buffet stand just outside where we had our tea break. Please don't let it go to waste. Stuff yourselves and use this opportunity to also network, to know the persons in the hall. We definitely will be staying in touch. Thank you to everyone that has supported, the streaming team, the technical teams. We really appreciate your services, and we will definitely stay in touch. Thank you. Safe journey. So please, let's just step out to get lunch before we go. Thank you very much.
Recording.
See, it's burning me to hold on to this. I know this is something I gotta do, but that don't mean I want to.